One second, I'm sorry. Nope, go back. Go back. Yep, okay. So, man, I'm really proud of myself. I am grinding through Reddit videos. So I saw that he posted this on Creepcast. This guy, his name is Mythic Melon, and he said that I could read his stories. I asked if I could read a few of his stories. He posted this on No Sleep and Creepcast, the subreddits, and that's what I'm doing here. I'm not doing it. I'm reading a couple of his stories here. I'm very excited. And of course, as always, if you want to read his stories without my commentary, check the description below. If you like his stuff, make sure to check his link. That will be linked below. And if you like the video, please leave a like, subscribe, and comment. Not only does it help me, but it helps get these authors out there, their work out there, so people can get to know them. Yeah, like I said, this guy, his name is Mythic Melon, and his story is called I Get Paid to Answer Phone Calls All Day, but I am only allowed to listen. Which is a really interesting title. I think this is why this... I'm fully confident that this is 100% why I asked if I could read a few of his stories, because I saw this title and I was like, that's so just interesting. So that's what I'm going to be reading this. Yeah, let's get into it. We've all heard of odd jobs before. Quirky social media gigs, requests from strangers on the internet, sometimes legit, mostly illegal. I want to warn you about my latest venture. The premise is simple, but confusing. You are paid to answer calls, but you can only listen. If you talk back, if you say anything at all, you're done. Curious? So was I. But before I jump in, I want to set the scene for you. There's a lot of ground to cover, but I promise it'll be worth the wait. Let's start with the call center. There's a certain uneasiness about the building. It's not the lights or the computers or the AC rumbling through the white paneled ceiling. It's deeper than that. A quiet, unnerving... I thought I said jazz. Quiet, unnerving jazz. And it's just freeform jazz. And that was it. That's the only reason this job was weird. No. A quiet, unnerving buzz. The longer you are here, the easier it gets, but the feeling never quite goes away. It just gets buried deeper and deeper into that steel case you call your mind. You'd be surprised how many people there are in this office. It's quiet, but it isn't silent. Never silent. If you sit long enough, if you really listen, you can hear them. The voices. The steady rhythm of desperation. Cries, pleas, whispers, screams. They're not loud enough to disturb anyone, just soft enough to make your skin crawl, like a bad feeling you can't place. They're not coming from the workers. They're pouring out of the phones, the never-ending sea of desperate callers ringing in day after day. And every day is different. Every voice is different. But the words, the stories, all the same. Please, they say. I don't know where I am. Something is outside the door. I need help. But no one responds. No one ever does. 2 cubes down, Martha, that's what I call her, is filling out a crossword. She taps her acrylic nails against her desk like she's typing away at an invisible keyboard. Then there is Debbie. Again, not her name, but she seems like a Debbie. That's so fair. Sometimes I'll look at people and be like, that's an Eric. That guy's a John. That guy, that's definitely a Doug. Nope, that's Amanda. That's definitely Jessica. That's so fair. You can't know these people. You can't hear them. It's not allowed to talk. This is so, this is setting up really well. I think the premise is interesting, because I've worked in a call center before, and I wish this was my job. I would rather sit there and be tormented by people every day who are calling me, rather than calling people and being tormented by those people. I was in outbound sales rep for an internet company that is known for having bad internet and even worse customer service. So that's all I'm gonna say. Let's get into it. Let's continue anyway. She's tall, brunette, and eating the same cheap parfait she brings in every day. I think it's strawberry flavored. Nobody talks here, not out loud, not unless they still want to work here. We don't wear name tags, we don't introduce ourselves, we don't even wear our own faces. Everyone's assigned a mask, not the sanitary kind, not the Halloween kind either. They're corporate, sleek, smooth, almost artistic. I would describe it as a masquerade style mask without the usual glitter and tassels. They start just below the forehead and stop above the mouth. And then they say it's part of the experiment. What experiment? Nobody really knows. That's kind of the whole point. We're not here to understand. We're here to follow instructions. Answer the call. Don't say anything. Let them speak. Let them scream. Let them beg. Just sit there with the phone pressed against your ear and listen until the line goes dead. That's it. That's the job. It seems cheap, gimmicky almost, like we're a part of the latest reality TV series where the cameramen are hiding in bushes with ulterior motives. I thought the same at first, but if there is something that doesn't lie, it's money, and lots of it, and that's why I'm here. I'm Ariana, 19 years old, college dropout. A few semesters in, I quit. Way too much debt, too little hope. Credit cards stacked like a tower ready to fall. I spent weeks scouring every corner of the internet for something, anything, that could get me back on my feet, even just for a little while. That's when Mabel introduced me to her profession. Mabel was unique, always dressed sharp, nice car, good career. That's almost a bar. Always dressed sharp, nice car, good career. Chanel bag casually tossed over her shoulder. A very independent woman. She lives in the city, paid her own bills, and did whatever the hell she wanted to. She was fun, serious, and motivating all at once. We have been friends for a while now, but she always kept me at arm's length. Sure, we would go out and have a nice time together, bond over past relationships and mutual interests, but there was always something mysterious about her. She never really talked about her work. I assumed it was drugs or some kind of shady side hustle. Fair enough. Like if she has like a nice car, she pays all her bills, and but she will not talk about her work. Okay, so you sell coke. That's so fair. It wasn't like her to keep secrets, but when she saw how down on my luck I was, she took pity, handed me a business card, and then just as quickly told me she never gave me that card. If anyone asks you, I didn't give you that card. You don't know Mabel, and Mabel don't know you, she said sharply. Apparently that was against company rules. Nobody could know anyone else who works there. I was confused, but curious. I called the number, voice answered. Cold and mysterious, they asked me 2 questions. Do you break under pressure? Do you know anyone else who works here? I said no, and no. That was it. No background check, no references. They even asked to see the resume I carefully prepared for the occasion. They gave me an address and a time. Simple as that. The onboarding was just as strange as anything else. You'd think I was signing up for some military program or secret government project. Everyone was tight-lipped. No smiling, no small talk. The rules were simple and unsettling. Arrive at the building exactly when your shift starts. Not a minute early, not a minute late. Keep your mask on the entire time. No exceptions. Don't identify yourself. Don't try to identify anyone else. Do not respond or speak to the caller on the end of the line. It felt odd, to say the least, but I kept telling myself it was just one big experiment. They're paying for data, not for us to help anyone. We're not really answering calls. We're the product being fed to someone or something higher up the chain. That's what the assessors say, at least. Assessors are basically glorified managers, people with a flashy degree and people skills that tell you the voices aren't real. And that the people on the other end aren't people at all. They're artificial, synthetic, part of the test and nothing more. Simulations, they say. You're not hurting anyone. It's about resilience, exposure, therapy, mental strength. Sure, buddy. I don't know what they are. I refuse to believe that they are people. It wouldn't make sense, but they don't act like simulations either. They don't sound fake. They sob, stutter, they beg for their kids. They talk about the thing outside their closet, or the eyes under their bed, or the monster outside their windows. You sit there, you listen, you grip your pen tighter and tighter until the call drops out, or the screaming stops, or there's that awful sudden silence, like somebody just grabbed the person out of existence. Then you breathe, you clear your throat, and the phone rings again. You pick up. I've been here 8 months now, not long, but long enough to know the rhythm. This job isn't about smarts or motivation, it's about routine, muscle memory. You have to build your own little rhythm. Listening to terror all day eats at you, breaks you down slowly. I've seen it happen. New masks come in wide-eyed and curious, but by month 2 they're breaking the rules or just gone. My routine is pretty straightforward at this point. I get it at 6:48, 5 a.m. sharp, same elevator, same gray carpet, same cubicle by the fire exit. I don't speak to anyone. It's safer that way. Chatter is dangerous for me and who's already picking up calls. At 7 a.m. my phone activates, the light goes on, not a ring, never a ring, just the light. Blue means wait, red means answer, and when it's red, you answer. You don't greet them, you don't ask questions, you just listen. And what you hear, well, they're always running, they're always hiding, always being chased by something they can't quite describe. A little boy whispering, saying something is scratching at his door, his mom won't wake up. This is so cool. I'm sorry to pause it here, but this is so cool. Like, it's so, like, heart-wrenching. Like, a little boy whispering, saying something is scratching at his door, his mom won't wake up. Like, how, like, I would not be able to. Like, I feel like at a certain point you develop an emotional callus, but like it would take so long. I feel like you would have to do it for years before you can just sit there and just like tune it out. Well, I have pretty good ADHD, so like I would sit there just, you know, not say anything, just think about literally anything else while it's going on. That's usually what I do when I'm on the phone anyway, so I don't feel like it'd be too hard. A woman panting, saying she's in the stairwell. Something is coming up behind her fast, and the police aren't answering her calls anymore. Oh, hi, Pepper Cat. You gonna smell my microphone? No, please don't rub your face on it. No, stop rubbing your face on my microphone. Hi, Pepper Cat. Sorry, my cat just came up, and she's an old lady. So it's nice whenever she comes to visit. No. Okay. Let's get back into it. A woman panting, saying she's in the stairwell. Something is coming up behind her fast, and the police aren't answering her calls anymore. A man with a crushed voice, locked in his closet. He mutters that he hears footsteps pacing back and forth, right outside, stopping every time he breathes. Different voices, same panic. Some of them say they're in a hallway, or a small bedroom, or under a sink. Sometimes they're describing this building, a call center. They'll mention glass double doors, or the color of the carpet, or the smell of the coffee from the nearby break room. Sometimes they'll describe the workers. You have a mask, they'll say. Black gloves, I know you can help me. Then they scream. We're not supposed to react, not even twitch. I've gotten pretty good at it. Neutral face, steady hands. A woman once asked me to sing to her while something chewed its way through her front door. I didn't, but I wanted to. It sticks with you, even after the call ends, especially then. We all handle it differently. Food, puzzles, fidgeting, anything to let out the tension. To cope, I sketch what they describe, not out of interest or enjoyment, just release. Macabre maybe, but it makes the images leave my head a little faster. Dark figures, tall shadows, doorways broken and bloody, a lot of staircases. And then, just when I start to forget, the light turns red again. The first few days were the hardest, but my first check came in. After just 1 month of job, I paid off my student loans. That crushing weight finally lifted. I felt like I could breathe again. A month later, I bought me, easy. If I'm paying off, like, potentially $50,000 in student loans, even just, like, $30,000 in student loans, and it's just it. And then I can buy my own car after the second month. Then pay off my, okay, I'll keep reading, but then I paid off my credit card debt. Yep, keeping this job. For the first time in years, the numbers in my bank account weren't a burden I needed to figure out. Now, I live in a multi-bedroom loft in the city, the kind of place with exposed brick walls, big windows that let in way too much sunlight. Okay, Pepper, you're gonna need to go away. I was here first, Cat. I'm sorry about that, guys. And I do want to mention, I didn't mention this earlier, I'm sorry for the white noise that's going on in the background. My AC's on. I get yelled at whenever I turn it off. So, there's that. Anyway, the kind of place with exposed brick walls. Oh, yeah, I gotta pause my recording. Perfect timing anyway. I'm going to get a drink of water. Now, I live in a multi-bedroom loft in the city, the kind of place with exposed brick walls and big windows that let in way too much sunlight. When driving the car, I used to drool over magazines, one I thought I'd never afford. Yet, seriously easy, like easy money. I'm absolutely doing this. I'd be sitting there, I would put myself on mute, and I would be playing my ukulele. Like easy. The money washes away the guilt at this point. Synthetic manufactured guilt, like a fresh coat of paint covering the grime beneath. Except the grime is just as processed as the paint at this point. Maybe that's the point of it all along. Just inexpensive, extravagant experiment. Cold corporate bet that people will do almost anything for the right amount of cash, even if it means listening to fake snuff calls for hours on end. That's what I told myself. The calls were just noise, background static to the page. I'm telling you what, a lesser story would have made I'm not gonna do that. A lesser story would have just and I don't know, and it's just good, and I like it, and it just okay, so you're a villain, and that's it. But no, where the story is going, I think it's really good. I'm gonna keep going. It was a Tuesday afternoon. I was halfway through my shift, eyes drifting between the crossword puzzle I'd started yesterday and the dull glow of my screen. I was a little hungover, my head still fuzzy from last night's bad decisions. Maybe that's why I was so caught off guard. Maybe that is why I made this horrible mistake. The phone turned red. I picked up instinctively, my eyes still fixed on the crossword puzzle. Hello? Is anyone there? I need help. The voice was faint but unmistakable. It was her, Mabel. For a split second, I forgot where I was. Thought I'd maybe pick up my personal phone by mistake. My heart started to hammer. Mabel, I whispered before I could stop myself. The room was quiet, not just the usual quiet of the call center, but something heavier, thicker, like the room was holding its breath. I felt eyes on me, dozens of masked faces turned in my direction, watching, waiting. I felt my face go red as hot embarrassment washed over me. I ducked my head below the cubicle wall. My phone was still pressed to my ear. Shit, I was done. Then Mabel spoke again. Wait, Ariana? I wanted to hang up, but something stopped me. I just didn't understand. Why was Mabel on the line? I've heard hundreds of simulated voices plead and beg for a response. I never imagined it could sound like someone you know. I was already reaching to hang up, but she said something strange. Something unexpected. Oh, no, she stammered, voice trembling with confusion. A cold shiver ran down my spine. This wasn't the Mabel I knew. Then she started laughing. Not the light, friendly laugh I remembered. A manic, broken laugh. It didn't stop. I slammed the phone down. I spun around, heart racing, and there she was. A member of HR standing just at the edge of my cubicle, black mask, notepad in hand, expression unreadable. She motioned for me to follow. No words. Just a slow, deliberate walk toward her office. I sat down in the stiff plastic chair across from her desk, and my mind is still reeling. The call played on loop in my head, the voice, the laugh, the way it sounded exactly like Mabel. I couldn't stop shaking. You broke the rules, yes? She asked flatly, scribbling in her notepad without looking up. Yes, but you understand this means you are terminated from the call center, correct? She cut me off with such finality, like it was scripted. She was reciting lines from her procedure manual. Dude, this is exactly what it was like when I worked at the call center and I got fired. Kind of. So, I got transferred when I was working at the call center. I got transferred to a different section, away from all of my friends. And I wasn't making sales because I was very new at it. I wasn't getting fired anytime soon because of my sales, but they were keeping an eye on me. And I just wasn't. I had asked for another day of training, another couple days. I'm just not getting this. Can I be trained a bit more? And they're like, no. I maybe made one sale in this time, and I I get there and I get put on a computer that is only pulling up the call screen. So like the way it would work is you click on the phone number and the phone would ring, person would pick up and yell at you, and then they'd hang up, and then or you'd read the DNR script, and then or the DNC script, and which I got pretty good at. I was pretty good at reading the DNC scripts, and I was also in speech and debate at the time, so like memorizing just any scripts were like easy for me. So I also had our pitch script memorized, and the first computer I was put at, the pitch script was not pulling up, and I was like, hey, it's not, my pitch script isn't pulling up, so I got moved to another computer, and my pitch script also wasn't getting pulled up, and then my area manager looked up to me and she was like, hey, why isn't your pitch script pulled up? I'm like, I have it memorized and it's not pulling up. And she's like, you didn't say anything? I'm like, this is the second computer that I got moved to today, like, no. And she said something to me and I'm like, well, I guess I'm fired then, and I left. Or she said, I guess you're fired then, something like that. I don't quite remember. It was an awful place. I would never recommend working at a call center. Anyway, I recognized her. I said, the voice, I thought I picked up my own phone by accident. I thought maybe it wasn't even. That made her pause. She looked up for the first time. Her eyes were sharp behind the mask, almost disappointed. Or was it fear? You thought, what? It sounded like someone I knew, a friend of mine. She didn't write anything down now. She just stared at me. When you first applied to this job, you answered 2 questions. Do you remember them? I hesitated. My stomach turned. See, like, I can understand, like, okay, so maybe everyone in here, everyone that they're getting calls from do work at the call center, or I guess there's that little boy, but like, let's say 90% of them are people that work at the call center, right? And if it's a big enough place and you're in a small enough town, you're probably going to like know somebody from outside of the call center, especially if like nobody's talking. Not to say like this is like a plot. Pepper, go. I love you, cat, but you need to go and get. They asked if I was good under pressure and if I knew anyone who worked here. And how did you answer? I said no. I said no to both. Stop it, Pepper. See, dude, this is why we can't have nice things. She stared a moment longer, then slowly ripped a sheet of paper from her pad and slid it across the desk. You are hereby terminated from this experiment. You can collect your final check at the location printed on the slip. You have also been granted a severance equivalent to 1 month's salary. Wait, that's all? She didn't respond. Just went back to typing like I wasn't even there anymore. No explanation, no follow-up about the call, no mention of what I heard, just a polite termination and a severance bonus. Like, I'm assuming she has enough money to, like, saved up for a while, but she's definitely losing her apartment. Like, that sucks. Like, as much as, like, I would like to think that, like, if I was making a lot of money, like, I would get a nicer place, but, like, I definitely wouldn't get a place that I couldn't afford if I had to go back to, like, 15 an hour, you know? But that's just me, personally. I grabbed the paper without reading it and stormed out, past the rows of silent masked employees, past the flickering overhead lights, and out into the daylight. I was halfway to my car when I realized I hadn't even removed my mask. I didn't look back. I felt everything over the next few days. Sadness, anger, confusion, like my body kept going through the motions, but my mind was stuck on a loop. That voice on the other end of the call, the thing that sounded like Mabel. I didn't know what I was supposed to believe anymore. On the second day, I caved and called her, straight to voicemail. That was weird. We were supposed to hang out next weekend, maybe grab drinks and vent about the call center. Mabel never ghosted me, not even when she was sick or pissed or going through it. Something was off. By the third day, I decided I needed to get out of the house, clear my head. The address, okay, maybe you should be focused on getting a job, but you have too big of an apartment to not be worried about this right now. Clear my head. The address they gave me for my my severance package wasn't far, so I drove out. It led me to a hotel, one of those upscale downtown places with giant flower arrangements and staff that wore gloves. I didn't even see a front desk, just a wall of private mailboxes near the back. The code they gave me worked. The lock clicked open, and inside was a check neatly folded, like it had been printed. I left, crossed the street to the parking garage where I'd left my car. As I reached the elevator, I paused. There was something standing on the sidewalk a little ways down, right outside the garage entrance. Big blonde hair, fur coat, tall boots. Mabel? I stepped forward without thinking. Just a few feet, enough to get a better look, and that's when I saw it wasn't her. Not really. The thing looked... Oh, that's so scary. The thing looked like Mabel if she had been made from melted wax. Too tall, limping slightly. Her skin hung from her face in folds, sagging like old leather. Her mouth was slack. Her eyes... God, her eyes. Two hollowed-out pits ringing with tiny, sharp teeth. Her hands were worse. Loose skin, twisted fingers bent at angles that didn't make sense. And yet, people kept walking past her like she wasn't there. They moved around her, avoiding bumping into her like she had a presence. She took up space, but no one looked, not directly. They didn't see her. Not really. If they did, they would have been terrified as I was. The elevator behind me dinged and the door shut. I ran inside, slammed the doors open. I ran inside and slammed the closed door button with shaking fingers. As the door slid shut, I heard footsteps on the concrete, slow, deliberate, getting closer. Too close. I didn't look. I didn't see her again. The elevator dropped me off a few floors up. Got in my car and drove fast, too fast. Every look red light felt like a trap. Every time I glanced out my window, I expected to see her there on the sidewalk, moving along in slow, rhythmic motion like a snail wearing human skins. I called a few friends on the way home, just to hear voices. I didn't tell them what I saw. I didn't want to sound insane, but I felt insane. All those desperate calls I'd been ignoring, months after month, people screaming and crying and begging, and now it's like the floodgates have opened. Everything's pouring in at once. Maybe I was having a breakdown. That's what I kept telling myself. Listening to the pain and anguish every day will do that to you. I just needed to rest. Some air, maybe a little trip. I had money now, enough to disappear for a few days, clear my head. No, you don't. You need to pay your rent. If I didn't feel right afterwards, I'd find a therapist. God knows I probably needed one anyway. I took a detour from my apartment to stroll through the lobby. I wanted to grab a few snacks from the shop beside the front desk before accidentally into the night. I needed a bottle or two of something strong to drown out the sadness from my termination from the call center. I was crossing the front desk when I caught the sight of something in the corner of my eye. I turned, and there it was again, Mabel walking toward me from the lobby entrance. The sight gave me chills, but the feeling passed quickly. I felt steadier after the drive, more level-headed. I wasn't afraid. I was annoyed. This wasn't real. It had to be some elaborate prank or a figment of my imagination. Either way, it couldn't hurt me. I needed to prove it to myself. I looked around. Everyone was just walking past. I held out my hands desperate. Really? Nobody else is seeing this? I took a few deep breaths and started towards it. Hey, sir, why are you following me? I called out. The thing didn't say anything, just kept lurching forward. I stopped a few feet in front of it. The smell hit me first. Sour. Run. I went to the side of the bloated figure writhing and convulsing under the cheap Mabel disguise. Did you hear me? This isn't funny, you creep. Going to get security. Chomp. Chomp. A mouth. It tore open from the thing's stomach and bit off the finger I was waving at its chest, just like that, gone. I staggered back, screaming, clutching my bloody stump where my finger used to be. I kept limping forward. I screamed louder, begging for help. No one looked. No one even paused. So I'm wondering if, the people that call, the way they speak is in such a frequency that it causes, two things, one of two things to happen. Either you get really good at your job and you stay there forever, or when you quit, your brain, it's like a secret agent thing, where you end up snapping and losing it, like you're a sleeper agent. I reached my floor and sprinted down the hall, fumbled my key out of my purse with a trembling, bloody hand, got the door open, locked it behind me. I backed away until my spine hit the wall on the other end of the apartment. I pulled out my phone and started dialing 911 with a good hand. Ringtone, then silence, no connection. I checked my service, full bars. This didn't make any sense. I called friends, family, my hairstylist, nothing. No ringtone, just silence. I cursed and rushed to the people. Nothing out there, not yet, just a wide, empty hallway. Blood was getting everywhere. I could feel my heartbeat in my hand from all the pain and swelling. I stumbled into my bedroom, wrapped my finger to stop the bleeding, and popped a few painkillers. Once that was taken care of, I sat at my desk and opened my laptop, tried to get online, email, social media, anything. Blank screen, no connection. Jesus. Clearly, once you leave the company, it destroys not only your life, but it destroys everyone's life, and that's, they need to do that. You can't talk about it, they don't want people talking about it. However, that does beg the question how Reddit's working. I wonder if they're gonna be like, the only website I could access was Reddit. We'll see. I've seen that before, but let's see. I sat down and cried. I didn't understand what was happening. Something was wrong, not just with the thing in the hallway, not just with me. Reality itself was broken. No one could hear me, no one could reach me, no one cared. I was isolated, trapped. Food for something that wore my friend's skin. Maybe that was all that was left of her. Then it was here. I heard a few limping footsteps outside the door. The light underneath the front door was stifled by something large standing outside it. I held my breath, waiting, but nothing happened. I just sat there doing nothing. I grabbed a knife and waited. It was bound to come in at some point, but it didn't. Hours passed. It was well into the night that the shadow was still there. It didn't make sense. I fumbled with my phone. I needed to get in contact with someone. I knew it was futile, but I had to try again. But then I heard something. Not from my phone, from the front door. It was Mabel. Hey, Ariana, I'm here. I need your help. I didn't move. I didn't speak. It was her voice, but it sounded wet, guttural, like it was her whispering through the mouth of a corpse. Don't ignore me. Say something, anything. I need to know you're okay. Oh, let me try that again. It says it was monotone. Don't ignore me. Say something, anything. I need to know you're okay. It was monotone, no concern in its voice. I carefully walked to the bathroom, then a loud bang. Don't walk away from me, Ariana. Talk to me. The voice was deeper now, less Mabel, more something else. I pushed the door closed with a soft click and covered my ears as a barrage of loud bangs broke out across the apartment. I heard them everywhere. My door, the ceiling above, the windows facing the city below. That's so interesting. So it's a psychological. Clearly, there is some sort of psychological. I hate to keep referencing MK Ultra, but some sort of psychological thing going on. The sound passed after an hour. My body was so tired at this point, partly exhausted, partly the blood loss from my missing finger. I barricaded my door, clutched my phone, and rested my eyes in the empty bed. I slept maybe an hour or two before something woke me. I sprang up and looked toward the bedroom door. The shadow under my bedroom door now. The shadow was under my bedroom door now. It had somehow gotten into my apartment. It was standing there the same way it had outside, but now it was here. I realized I couldn't escape this thing. Whatever it was going to get me, slowly but surely. It had no issue entering my apartment. It would have no problem breaking into my room. Maybe it was toying with me. Maybe it enjoyed the chase. I felt panic wash over me. Leave me alone! I screamed. I heard a soft laugh break out from outside the door. I returned to my phone. Started calling everyone on my contact list again. Silence. Every time, like the world outside my apartment building just vanished. Then I realized something. I realized the silence. Oh, Jesus. Okay, yeah, I was about to say, why don't you just call the call center? But she knows what happens when you call the call center, but we're actually getting into this right here. Then I realized something. I realized the silence didn't mean the calls were failing. They were going through every time. No ringing, no static, just quiet. Someone on the other end was always there, always listening. It was the call center. Every call I made was routed straight back to the center. I only figured it out because of the tiny, almost imperceptible sound, one you'd miss if you were desperate enough to listen for it. A spoon scraping at the bottom of a plastic parfait cup. Debbie. Debbie from work. Debbie? I said into the phone, no response. Of course not. Debbie wasn't her name, just the one I gave her. None of us knew each other's names. That's how they designed it. Masks, code numbers, shift schedules that barely overlapped. Hey, I know you. Well, not know you, but we work together. Please, just say something. I think you can help me. Still nothing, and that's when it hit me. They wouldn't answer. Not ever. They couldn't. We don't speak. Not to them. It didn't matter what I said, how much I begged and cried. Could Could I really blame her? I ignored hundreds of the calls just like this. That's when I broke. I started laughing. Loud, cracked, hysterical, borderline hysterical. The same kind of laugh I heard from Mabel that day. She realized the truth that she was calling the same people she sat next to every day. That none of us said a word, not even when it mattered. It was real, all of it, real people, real demons. God, those poor people, men, women, and children. The poor children. Ah, man, that's so sad. Okay. Alright, let's get through this. The creature outside went quiet during my breakdown. Maybe it enjoyed my pain. Maybe it was hoping I'd walk out, still broken, run into its jaws. Once the laughter died, I steadied my breathing. I felt a strange mental clarity. Could have been the painkillers or sleep deprivation. Either way, I had an idea. If they respond, the creature moves on. That was my theory. I never got confirmation from Mabel, but she had tried. She screamed on the phone until someone wrote the rules. Nothing left her alone. At least that was the hope. I needed to get someone to answer and to break the rules like Mabel did, like I did. I racked my brain for anything. I knew about the people I worked with, anything. I couldn't crack their armor, and it hit me, Martha. She was always working during my shifts, the one with the crossword puzzles and cracking books. The only reason she came to mind was because I knew something about her. I should have. We do our best to hide our identities, but every now and then something slipped out. A phrase, a flash of text on your personal phone, they end up a tattoo. Her mistake was much more time and easy to forget. One day I saw a brochure sticking out of her purse, assisted living facility. I recognized the name. My mom had looked into it for my grandfather once. Nice place, private rooms, big windows, expensive. Probably why Martha took the job. I grabbed the phone, started dialing random numbers, cold calling the call center over and over, same silence, same hollow wait. I listened for her, waiting for the familiar tap of the nails on the cheap plastic desk. Fast, plasticky little clicks. Call, hang up, nothing. Was Martha even on rotation today? I started to feel hopeless. Outside the room, the door handle started to twitch. A soft rattle like someone was trying to figure out the lock. It would be in here soon. Then I heard it, the cracking of nails. I prepped the script in my mind. I had one chance. Hello? I said in the calmest voice I can manage. Sorry, I tend to read fast. I know that I need to read slower. But I can only record for so long, so I end up reading really fast. And sometimes when I get excited, I end up talking really fast. No answer. I take another shaking breath. I'm calling because your family member at Woodbrooks is in the middle of a situation here. I hope this was the right angle. During my time working here, every call was frantic, desperate, just like me, but I couldn't show it. Not if I expected this to work. Nobody at the call center would expect something so calm and collected. The clacking stopped. I had her attention. Now I needed to drive it home. Sorry to call this line. Someone at the call center said it was your work line. I'm gonna read that line again. I'm sorry. Sorry to call this line. Someone at the call center said it was your work line. I just need to confirm some information. Let's start with your last name. I bit my tongue on the door as the door began to unlock. It creaked open slowly. The barricade, the furniture slid across the floor like it was a pile of empty boxes. I put my hand over the mouth to stifle a scream. What stood there wasn't Rand's Mabel's skin anymore. That was gone. It sloughed off like wet clothing. What reminded me was something raw. A bundle of dark flesh, tentacles and mouths writhing in slow, deliberate motion, snapping, smacking, clicking wetly against each other. They turned toward me slowly. The bundle of wiry flesh writhed toward me in unison. I closed my eyes and tried to keep my voice level. Ma'am, this is an emergency. If I don't get a directive now, I will need to call 911. I felt warmth descending upon my face, 100 little mouths breathing on my skin in anticipation. Then she spoke. Is my mom okay? The sound of her voice felt like a lifeline being caught in the middle of the ocean. I opened my eyes. To my surprise, the thing was gone. I caught just the tip of a black tendril vanishing around the corner toward my front door. I grabbed my phone again. Listen, this isn't Woodbrook. I used to work with you. Something's coming for you. The call center, it intercepts your call. You need to get someone to respond. The line went dead. I stood there, useless. I didn't even know her name. Didn't know what she looked like, and yet I feel like I just sentenced her to a fate worse than what happened to me or Mabel. I felt sick. I didn't leave my apartment for weeks. You need to get a job. I needed time to process everything. I'm in a better headspace now. You can thank a lot of expensive therapy for that. I got into the job for the money. I didn't care about the calls. I told myself they were fake, but that was a lie. The truth is, I was desperate. I don't know if I would have taken the job if I'd known what was really going on. Honestly, I probably still would have. That's what scares me. But now, I have a new purpose, a better one. I'm going to end the call center. I don't know how yet, but I'm working on it. I owe it to Mabel and Martha. I don't care if I go broke, if I lose everything. There are more important things than money in life. And this place is going to learn that the hard way. Until then, you've been warned. Don't accept a job from a call center that ignores desperate people, real people, scared people being chased by a real threat. I managed to make it out, but most people won't be so lucky. Most people will be hiding in their homes, crying, pleading, begging a bunch of corporate morons in masks to save them from something truly evil. But if you already work in a place like the call center, it isn't too late. You can help. Help. Don't sit idly by and listen to injustice. Don't let the corporations tell you it's all synthetic garbage. Use your own judgment. Be kind. Be curious. You may say, just save someone's life. How are you going to save somebody's life? Like, what's the call to action there? I don't understand that. Either way, this was a fantastic story. I loved every single second of it. I really felt like I was back working in the call center, and that's the true horror. On a real note, though, once again, this is Mythic Melon. The story the author of this story. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed reading it. And as always, the story itself and the author's Reddit page will be linked in the description. And before I forget,